Welcome to Here's for the Experience. I'm your host, Michael Dreiling. We have a great first episode for you guys today. If you like stories of a great comeback, of a Cinderella story, a success story, we have all that with our first guest today. So let's get started. I want to introduce my first guest and good friend, Luis Gutierrez from Hutchinson, Kansas. I want you to tell everybody that's tuning in to Here for the Experience what your experience has been and how far you moved in life. Let's start with what you're doing now. Let's tell everybody that's tuning in, what you got going on in your life and what that experience is like.
All right. Hello. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Luis Gutierrez. I'm a tattoo artist. I own Redemption Ink Tattoo in Hutchinson, Kansas. And our motto is Redemption Ink Tattoo, impacting lives one tattoo at a time.
Nice.
My life wasn't always like that. I grew up in the gangs my entire life. And at a very young age, at 9 years old, there was this guy in our backyard tattooing on a bunch of friends. And I had seen tattoos throughout my lifetime, but I'd never actually seen one being done.
Uh-huh.
And when I seen this guy tattooing on people, it's so crazy because at 9 years old, I knew what I was going to do for the rest of my life.
Wow.
I was so driven, like, I need to learn this. I need to know this.
Uh-huh.
And I'm 48 now, and I love it more today than I have at any other point in my life. Slowly there, just since a little kid, I've been on my own. I've been able to support myself. And the whole time I was in prison, it's a very high commodity in there. The majority of everyone wants tattoos in there. And because of the reputation I built in prison for myself, people would say that I was the best in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of, in prison, lived a celebrity lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because anything of any kind of value would always come through my hands. Anyone that made any kind of hustlers, all the guys that made all the big money in there, always wanted tattooed.
Sure.
So
sure.
they were always offering the most, and it was kind of like a status type thing. And so I knew that I had to learn how to be better at tattooing. So this whole time I've just been perfecting my craft. And I guess to kind of let the audience know how much of a passion this is for me and how much I love it. In prison, it's illegal to tattoo.
Right.
And, they make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
I've had entire SWAT teams dedicated to solely busting me 7 days a week. I did 25 years, 7 months in prison straight.
Wow.
And I never got busted one time. They would run in on me at all hours of the night because I always had some kind of contraband.
Yeah.
But I loved it so much. I was willing to lose my visitation with my family. I was willing to risk getting more. There was prisons that would actually give you more time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they would charge you with it because it was introduction of contraband. They didn't sell any of that in prison. So they said, if none of that exists in prison, that means you're getting it in illegally.
Right.
So it was the introduction of contraband, and guys were pleading out to a year.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I was risking all that, and I didn't care. I just loved it so much. I was willing to risk all that, and I never understood it, why it was such a bad thing in there.
Yeah.
Like why it was viewed so negative. But I knew that even though I was doing gang tattoos,
Uh-huh.
and I was doing like prison style tattoos, I was impacting lives inside.
Oh, absolutely.
All my guys that were getting tattooed, they were telling me stories about their lives. People reveal so much to you when you're tattooing. It's almost like you're a therapist.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I started seeing value in that.
Yep.
And that's when that process there began. And that's what I do now with my business.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Mm-hmm. So, and we're gonna take a dive back to the past, mm-hmm. and kind of bring everything full circle. But share with everybody how what seemingly started off. If people were just to like look in on a piece of paper how your life started, it would look like a bad start, probably, right?
Absolutely.
Like you're kind of dealt a bad hand, and you're kind of starting off, in a bad direction with bad influence, or at least not the greatest of influences. But let's talk about what you're doing now and share with everybody what your current present day experience is and what you're doing with that, with what you've learned.
All right. In order to tell you, I will tell you this real quick. I remember one time I did a cover-up tattoo while I was in prison on a guy.
Okay.
And it was part of his gang. And here's the thing. He was in another gang. Okay. And he joined another gang while he was in prison.
Oh, wow.
He needed a tattoo covered up because they found out they were going to kill him.
Yeah.
I could have busted this guy out, and I could have went and told everybody, hey, this guy's an imposter, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
This guy did it for pure fear, out of pure fear. And
right.
I seen that in his eyes. There was no ill intent. There was nothing like that. And I guess a part of me, I made a judgment call that I don't want to see this guy lose his life.
Right.
Or really get messed up over something like that. So I just covered it up. He didn't want another gang tattoo. He just wanted it covered up so he wouldn't get killed.
Sure.
But I seen how much it was almost, hopefully this doesn't sound bad, but it was almost like I had the power then. I had the ability to change something for right. Because up to this point in my life, all I'd been, part of my language, is a fuck up all my life.
Yeah.
I'd never done anything good up to this point. I was pretty much an embarrassment, a loser, but I did something good. And that was kind of like the beginning. So when you fast forward to what I'm doing now, when I finally had my opportunity to get out of prison, I knew what I was going to do.
Awesome.
I knew like there was no, I'm going to tattoo and we're going to figure this out one way or another. And I knew I had a hard road ahead of me, but my wife and I was sat down and said, well, there's plenty of people who tattoo. How are you going to set yourself apart? I mean, you have a life sentence, on your background. Uh-huh. You have zero history of tattooing professionally. You don't know anyone out here. Mm-hmm. How are you going to set yourself apart? And, what is your passion in doing this? And I said, well, I love helping people. I love doing what you do. She said, well, then let's do that. If you're really passionate about this, let's do it. And it's going to grow by itself into what it's grown into. And that's what we did since day one. We wanted to help people by tattooing. And that's what we do now. We cover, my favorite thing in the world to do are cover up tattoos.
You really?
Oh man, I tell you what.
Because you don't really hear too many like tattoo shops advertising, hey, we're
right.
we're good at cover ups, or this is our specialty. You don't. I mean, I haven't heard of anything like that.
I had one of my I worked with a tattoo artist who told me like this. He said, I hate cover ups, and I asked him why. He said, if you're going to paint your masterpiece, would you go to Hobby Lobby and buy a messed up canvas that's already been just abused? It's all warped and just, would you spend your money? And I was like, well, I guess not, and then he said, well, I wouldn't either. He said, I want to paint my masterpiece on something new, something. Right. And I understood that, but I also understood this. It's not always the client's fault that they got tricked into believing that their tattoo artist knew what they were doing. It's not their fault. Right. I've met guys that can sell ice to Eskimos. They'll sit there and tell you, oh, I'm this, and then they do the tattoo and they can't execute it. Right. It's not the client's fault.
Right.
Right. And we all make mistakes. I've made plenty of them.
Sure.
But you know what? I'm here to correct them.
Yep.
I have the ability and I love doing it.
That is really awesome. That's really unique because, my background's different. I've done some construction trade type work, and I completely understand not wanting to come in behind someone else's work and try to make it better. I mean, it's a different kind of challenge, for sure, and not just anybody can do that. I know that for sure. So when you're dealing with somebody's body, somebody's skin, somebody's ink, that's got to be a huge challenge. How did you stumble upon wanting to make that a focus?
That guy that I was telling you about when I was locked up, because he could have got killed, man.
Yeah.
We were in there,
so it had dire consequences.
Yes,
it was kind of
very much. And another thing that I learned is, but man, I'm amazing under pressure.
Really?
Oh yeah, I don't care. You put me under pressure. That's when I perform the best.
Nice.
And when someone's life is on the line, you don't get much more pressure than that. No. I was like, man. I never knew I had that kind of ability, or that I could even have that kind of impact on someone, because up to that point, again, it was all just negative stuff.
Right.
It was all just violence, intimidation, and just,
Well, it's a bad place, and here's what's kind of interesting is a bad place full of bad people, and somebody in there seeing some light and thinking, how can I do something good? How can I make something, a negative circumstance? How can I turn that around?
And you know what's even crazier?
What's that?
Now that I'm out here, I went to prison when I was 16, and everything in there is geared towards, especially from the staff, is that we are never to be trusted.
Right.
If staff's in the middle of a conversation or anything and an inmate comes anywhere near, they automatically shut down, like, oh, dirty inmate or something. Right. So I always felt like I wasn't subhuman. Okay. And getting out, I had this, now fast forward to this moment. I had about an 18-year-old kid, real young kid, sitting down in my chair, and I could tell he was nervous.
At your shop?
At my shop.
Uh-huh.
And he was nervous. And, my job as a tattoo artist is to try and make this experience as comfortable as possible.
Sure.
So I said, man, I need to calm this kid down. So I said, hey, is this your first tattoo? And he said, yeah, it's my first tattoo. I said, are you all right? He said, yeah. He said, I'm cool. He said, I already know about this stuff because my dad gets all his tattoos from you. He said, I couldn't go anywhere else because he only trusts you. Did you know? I'm 48 years old. That's the first time I ever heard that in my life.
Wow.
From someone who wasn't a criminal or a gang member.
Yeah.
This was the first time anyone ever trusted me.
Wow.
And I knew it was sincere.
Yeah. And he didn't even really know you personally, right?
The kid didn't know me at all.
Yeah.
But just knowing that this is what their family said when I wasn't around.
Yeah, exactly. That's powerful.
Yeah, his dad, for me, it was really big to have that. To me, that's what I learned that's a true meaning of integrity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that, sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. It's a powerful story. And I bet in a way it kind of probably made you a little bit whole, huh?
Well, it really pushes me.
Yeah.
Because I want that more.
Yeah.
I've never had that trust. And now a lot of my clients, if you read our reviews, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Because people trust me with their spouses, with their children's, with their bodies, and it's just like, I can't believe that. Tattooing has done all this for us.
Well, tattooing was the avenue, but the guy behind the tattoo gun is the one that built it, And, hats off to you for...
My wife, too, man.
Yeah. I mean, she's been a great support system, probably.
She's been an amazing support system. I'll share something with you guys real quick.
Okay.
I hope this guy doesn't mind. Yesterday, and just, I want you to know, this is the importance of why I do this and why I run my business the way I do.
Sure.
Yesterday I got a message and from this guy, and I get these from people all over the country. I put out a post about me helping with tattoos. He said, I'm all about that mission, my boy. I did a lot of time too. He said, I did a lot of time too. I'm tatting and ministering to the youngsters and whoever, one tattoo session at a time. I would love to network with you.
Wow.
You know how many tattoo artists from all over the country reach out to me like this? It's just so crazy to me that because of something that I love and I'm so passionate about, it's impacting other people's lives. And I could show you so many messages, man. And it just the reviews that people write about our business and the way they view our business, and it just motivates me to go even more.
Well, that is really incredible too. So I think what everybody's getting to see right now, or getting to hear rather, is, you can have a bad start in life, and, all it takes is one little thing to flip things around. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be a short or fast process, but
you got to endure.
It's a beginning of something better, right?
I tell you what, enduring and suffering, that's the most important. It sucks to go through that stuff, but it's the most valuable thing you could ever go through. No one that's experiences. When you suffer and when you endure, it makes you appreciate stuff. Like, we suffered and endure all that time out here, and that's why I don't take anything for granted. Not 1 minute. Anytime I can help out, anytime I can do something positive, I'm on it.
Yeah, I know you are. I mean,
it's just my whole life was geared towards negativity before. I put 1,000% into being a loser. It was like, if I just put 50% into just trying to do something right, I mean, it's going to be a start. And I started, one of the things I tell people all the time is there's like, why are you so successful? What are the keys to you being successful? And I said, I started out with small goals. Yeah. I made small, achievable goals that, man, I want to start out with doing 10 push-ups, 5 sets of 10 push-ups and, just not to overdo myself, not overwhelm myself. And then I'm going to get one drawing done, and every day. By the end of the week, you got 7 drawings to choose from now, and you can charge whatever. And then, there's all your bills for the month paid, so, but it starts out with small steps, small little goals. Yeah. And it starts instilling confidence in yourself. And that's what I needed. I thought I was a confident person, but I really wasn't until I started believing in myself, and the goals are so important, man.
I think there's a disconnect between us setting goals for ourselves and then realizing, well, we might have to actually put some effort into, getting those goals accomplished. But a good point that that I think you made is, just make something small, something that you can reach for. Don't set goals too far out there that are too difficult that you get discouraged by the time you're halfway through and nothing happens, and then you have wasted effort.